Hello, greetings and welcome to Earground Your Voices Amplified. My name is Plot Marco. Welcome to the platform that brings you some of the finest voices from Motherland. And today I'll be speaking to two artists, two creators, one based in UK, one based in Zimbabwe, but they've got an amazing connection. We're going to be talking more about it, a new project that they've done. But, these are internationally renowned artists in their own right. They've both worked on some amazing international productions. And I'm going to be speaking to Zimbabwean British artist, songwriter, producer Shingai and Philo. Welcome to Earground.
What up? What up?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good to have you guys. I mean, I'm super starstruck because both of you are making amazing things.
Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate you are as well, Plot. You really are just repping us in the best possible way, celebrating us locally and internationally. So it's an honor for me, actually.
Exactly.
And you know what's interesting is that I got to know of you guys from exactly the same space, Harare Gardens. So 2008, that's where I met Philo. It was a Channel O hip hop tour, and he was beatboxing, and I was amazed, who's this guy? And then fast forward 2013, I'm at Haifa. Shingai is performing with the Noisettes, and I'm totally blown away with this lady. So it's really quite interesting that I have those fond memories of my first interaction with your art, your names, and your personalities.
Wow,
it's interesting. That's one place. One place.
A lot goes down in Harare Gardens, huh?
A lot does.
God did.
Yeah, God did. How much Shona is in your vocabulary, Shingai?
You know what, chat, I'm working on it, guys. It's still very limited. I'm not where I want to be with it, but I feel like I'm getting a grasp on the key phrases that just help you get along, when you go home. So yeah, I'm getting there, but I'm not where I want to be with it just yet.
Wow, great. So I'm gonna take you back a bit. I'll start off with Shingai. Born in Zimbabwe but grew up in UK. And what are your
born in London?
Oh, you're born in London.
Yeah.
Wow. It's quite fascinating because you make so much connection to back home. You've made reference to being, also Zimbabwean. That struck me that I actually thought you were born in Zimbabwe, because a lot of people, when they're actually born elsewhere and there's Zimbabwean connection, they're like, okay, maybe my dad is from Zimbabwe, my mom is from Zimbabwe, but you're so much connected to motherland.
Yeah, I think I definitely owe it to Amaichi for my mom. The Zim community was and still is quite tight knit, actually. I grew up in South London, but I first started going home. I first started going to the motherland when I was 9. When my father passed away, I actually went to go and live with Gogo in Malawi. So I'm a bit of a Bantu remix, because I guess, as most of us know, that whole region of Southern Africa, people moved around and stuff. So there's a lot of cultural synergy between Malawi and Zimbabwe. Some have with Mozambique, with Botswana. But yeah, my first time of going to the motherland was to go to Malawi. But then I had started learning Shona. And then when I went to Malawi, everyone was speaking Chichewa, and I was like, oh, I thought it was Shona. And then they started laughing, going, no, that's not Chichewa. That's, so I think by the time I was 11 and 12, I just kind of sort of gave up. So now I'm trying to repick it up again. But yeah, I mean, South London is very diverse. So there are so many Zimbas here. It's parts of it are like little Harare. In fact, I think we call it Harare North. Some parts.
Harare North. Interesting. But I mean, how do you remember your early days, like musical years? What sort of fed your imagination and interest into music?
Well, my mom used to work with some incredible promoters and just keepers of the African culture musically. People like Uncle Wala. He's really well known in London. He used to put on incredible nights with the help of people like my mum at places like the Africa Centre. So yeah, in the 90s when I was real small, you know, my mum's house was a bit like the mini kind of Zim Embassy Part 2, because when all the guys did their shows at the Africa Centre, so bands like the Bundu Boys would come through, the Four Brothers, like Lord Deppa, we met people like Hugh Masekela, so they would do like their big posh shows and stuff. And then obviously, you know, when they're done with their like rider and their cheese and hummus, they're going to want some sadza, because it's like not a proper meal. So that was the place that everybody used to sort of congregate at my mum's house. So there were always jam sessions going on. Somebody would just like hand you a pair of hoshos and be like, keep time. And obviously, like, me and my siblings were just like, oh, we want to watch cartoons, we're really, really English. And then as soon as the atmosphere just kicked off, you went, wow, who are these people? They're so exciting, they're so interesting. And so that's how the music really, that's how I got the music bug. But I never thought I would do it as a career, because I also saw what a lot of those musicians went through internationally. My mum's brother was a musician and played with lots of musicians from, like, I think from like Chibadura, you know. So yeah, I was introduced to Jakatas, Dembos, because my mum's brother was a musician. But like, because my mum and her brother, you know, like most people of that generation, played an active part in the Chimurenga, and their dreams of music didn't so much get deferred, but you know, they kind of always dreamed of being in a band together. So now it's funny that me and my siblings, we all do music together. You know, we first did our first recording together finally on Too Bold with a song called Tsitsi, and this was kind of to honor my mum and her cousins and her brother Sekuro Oswald, who passed away sadly. So it was to honor those whose dreams got kind of cut short because of, you know, the post Chimurenga kind of traumas and things. So yeah, I just feel like there's so many of those musicians, you know, that are not here anymore today, and they definitely inspired me.
Wow. And Philo, was beatboxing your first love? What came first, music, beatboxing, producing?
Beatboxing wasn't the first. It was actually discovered by chance. It was my dad, actually, I would say. Because my dad he plays keyboard by ear. So he used to just play a few songs when I was much younger, and I used to be on the keyboard there playing with one, you know, chicken finger notes, trying to, you know, just try to make some melodies. And then I think, obviously, you know, choir at school, high school, junior school. But I think what really kicked it off was high school. Around 16 was when there was like a Christian camp, and I was just casually beatboxing. I didn't even know it was like a talent. I was just doing it, and people were like, "Do that again." And then that's kind of when I realized, okay, fine, there is something there. And then I just tried to develop it as much as possible at that time. At the same time, that's probably when I started making like beats, because I'm generally inspired by a lot of music in general. Like, so as I was growing up, I was literally listening to everything, from local to international to whatever, even genres that people would be like, what are you listening to? You know? So yeah, things like The Prodigy. I was big into The Prodigy.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I was all the way there. And then I would go all the way to like opera. And then I'll go all the way to, so I'm generally a music lover. So because of that, I've kind of absorbed a lot. And I was making beats, trying to, you know, just use all these influences. And I was just kind of starting off with like FL casually. I was very, very casual. But I'll say like, it all kind of really started with my dad playing piano, just watching him play. And because I was like, you know what, I wanna do something along these lines, you know, whatever it is. So there's a music bone in our family somehow. It just kind of by ear. Even my older brother plays guitar. Yeah. Wow. So.
And I mean,
so proud.
Yeah, and you know what also strikes me is that, I mean, you have made some great accomplishments, but you remain very humble. You know, Philo, you have produced some amazing productions. Before No Fear, I know you were part of the Spaceship album by Burna Boy somehow. That's true.
Yeah, sometime back.
Tell us a bit about that.
Very simply, Burna Boy is coming to perform, and you know, when he comes to perform, obviously wanted to work with, you know, people in Zim and whatever.
Yes.
So I was I knew I wasn't going to go to the studio for certain reasons, but because Burna Boy, the name is implied. So basically, friend of mine, Simba Tags, was working with him, and he was like, "Hey, send me tracks," you know. And then I sent him a specific beat, and Burna Boy really liked it. He recorded something on it, and then towards like album release, you know, he decided, you know what, I want to put this on the album. He got Wizkid to jump on the song, and it was all really last minute. So it was like songs coming out. You know, it was all like within like the space for like 3 weeks or so. So so it was very short and last minute. But yeah, so I actually got a song on Burna Boy's album, Spaceship, like one of those earlier albums. Yeah, it's called Single by with featuring Wizkid. So
that is amazing. And Shingai, you are the lead singer for the internationally acclaimed Noisettes. How did you get to be part of the band? What's your history there?
Well, first of all, I just have to say, like, just like amazing to find. It's like, it's really actually just an honor for me now that I'm kind of in a new chapter, kind of post Noisettes and my musical evolution, to be working with people such as Follow, you know, because you are so like, you're this is like this No Fear project is just, it's so much bigger than what I think we both even realize it is now. But in terms of the Noisettes, you know, so I actually play bass and guitar as well as lead vocals and stuff for Noisettes. But yeah, I went to like a performing arts and technology school in London called the Brit School, which is quite a huge place because it's the only place where you can really go there because of merit. Like you have to do lots of auditions and stuff to get in, and it's all a bit like, will I get in, won't I? Yeah, I was doing theatre, I was doing drama at the time. I knew even at that like small age, I really wanted to tell, I wanted to see more people like us, you know, like with our kind of tone and our vibes. And a lot of that was missing from like the theatre scene and like the pop music scene. It felt like, you know, London was very like, apart from like scenes, you know, like kind of like, you know, which were very London, like UK garage, funky house, of which I've been a big part of that as well. A lot of artists were very like America kind of looking, you know, and yeah, I guess that was the time when the first and second generations were wanting to put our kind of energy into like music, into creativity. You know, the Ghanaians, the Nigerians, the Zimbabweans. We were just a bit like, we've got our own vibe as well. So yeah, when I was at the Brit School, I met Dan, who would become my co-writer and, you know, really huge part of the Noisettes. And it was just a very, very whirlwind thing. I didn't really plan to be in a band or stay in a band. I kind of wanted to use that as a platform to do something bigger. Like I wanted to do huge films, musicals and projects. And I just always liked the idea of like integrating different art forms, because that's very, you know, African. Like when you go to like Kumusha, you know, well, in fact, one thing I remembered from when I was in Malawi were, you know, you used to have these like every month, I think it was like, or every other Thursday or Friday, like after school, you used to get like this troupe of amazing performers. And like, I guess people would probably say they look a bit like Bude Gudes now, but they were much more incredible. They had like their own homemade costumes, their own home instruments, and everybody, like hundreds of people in a massive circle, and watched them perform. They had acrobats, they had dancers, they had like drums, big stand-up gomos, like bigger than me. They had instruments, they had their own kind of kalimba version of like umbiras that they have up there.
Yeah.
And I just remember being so blown away. And like, with all due respect, you know, a lot of people in Africa can be very, very Western facing when it comes to, I guess, the inspiration to make their creativity professional. But in terms of the raw energy of like creativity, nothing beats the motherland. Like nothing beats it. Like,
Sure.
you know, I remember thinking, you know, everything that I'd experienced, you know, in Malawi, because African parents could sometimes do this thing where they'll be like, yeah, you're going on holiday, you know, to stay with uncle this and auntie that. And then that like 6-week holiday turned into a year. Me and my sibling were like, Mom, are you gonna come again? So I ended up being there, you know, like this kid from South London, you know, with like my trainers and like my shell suit and thinking I was got it, you know. And then I ended up just having this year of discovery, and yeah, and also because I was kind of grieving, I was in this kind of wonderland where everything felt really, I just felt very sensitive to everything. And so, yeah, one of my favorite things about living in Malawi, and then when I went to Zim when I was a teenager, like 14 or 15, and again, went for about 3 months. We went to go and bury Gogo, and then I ended up being there for a while and meeting, you know, the confluence of the, because basically Gogo, although she lived in Malawi, her and my granddad met in what was then Salisbury, right? So she's Zimbabwe, Malawi. So there was this whole amazing confluence of family, like probably about 80 of them drove from Malawi on one of those big open bed, flatbed trucks. And I just remember like they were rolling in, there was music. It was just, there was a vibrancy. And I'm like, this is not a funeral. This is not like what they say, you know, this is a celebration of so much more. And so, when they came, there was just this confluence of like different music, different rhythms, different vibes. And so when I went to somewhere like the Brit School, and everyone was like, I just want to sing this song that's really, really kind of interesting. Like at that point, apart from UK Garage, and a lot of kind of like, you know, the early blueprint for UK hip hop, which was going to be grime. And there was quite a lot of what I'd say kind of like dry, like bless them, UK kind of pop artists that were trying to emulate, you know, African-American artists. And so I'm there in the Brit School and thinking, oh my gosh, do I really have to sing this? I don't know, like, you know, people were into, yeah, it was like kind of just that kind of UK version, like watered down, you know, soul and R&B. So I was in a unique position where when I got together with Dan was just like really blown away by my like musical kind of roots and my mum's record collection and the record collection I inherited from my dad, which a bit like Philo is really diverse. There's everything from opera to, you know, the old school soul like Marvin Gaye, like Nina Simone, Billie Holiday, but then you've got like your Fela Kutis in there and your Manu Dibango and your Miriam Makeba. So yeah, I think Dad really wanted to start a band and he was just really tired of like playing with singers, just kind of went like that. And then we auditioned for for a bass player, and we had a bass player for a while. Then our music was so eclectic that we just actually couldn't even keep the bass player because they were just like, oh my god, you're doing like an 8-minute song which is going from like prog to funk. I'm just like kind of musically, I guess, out there people at that time in the kind of South London sort of live music scene. We got together, we tried to get signed for about 5 or 6 years in London, in the UK, and in the end it was Motown in America that picked us up. So yeah, fast forward, you know, to 3 albums and like countless world tours over like 8 or 9 years, signed to like the major labels. I could not wait to kind of go back to Shingi that was a lot more inspired by those formative vibes and rhythms. So I wanted to make something very futuristic and kind of reconnect with my musicality and get to work with different producers who came from different places in terms of like just even like BPM, you know. And I think that's why it was really exciting working with Philo, because I was like, wow, you know, a lot of producers in the West now, again, I just don't feel like they have the canon of they have a different canon to where we're coming from. So yeah, that's why I wanted to work with Philo, and I'm proud of what I achieved with the Noisettes, but I think it's time to use those experiences to drive prosperity home in
Yes.
Zim to create the music scene that we want. So I want to use all the experience that I had in outside in the Noisettes to be part of like contributing something positive to the Zim scene.
Wow, that is amazing. I'm gonna
Exactly.
be, asking you guys how you managed to connect, and then get into the details of the production which you just dropped. But there's something that sort of took my attention when I was reading a bit about you, and it's one article where Adele speaks about you.
Yeah, so yeah, Adele went to Brit school as well. And we were like next door neighbors, so we were really close.
Wow.
Maybe for about sort of 6 years, maybe 7 years. In fact, I'm round the corner from where we both kind of grew up right now, actually. I'm kind of,
Wow.
from the circle. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's a really lovely thing to know, like, that people are kind of saying that you're a big part of like their tone and like their kind of forming of their kind of musical vibe. And yeah, I mean it was just a really, really innocent days when it was just about the music, and then there was a time when I guess I was on tour everywhere with Noisettes, and she was doing her thing. We didn't actually we only just reconnected actually recently through IG actually. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, it did mean a lot because there are a lot of incidents where the media does not necessarily really respect the contribution of especially Black females and just brown people in general to the musical lineage of, let's say, the UK. It happens more in the UK. In the US, they're much more like appreciative of each other. Like, you can join the dots from like, Billie Holiday to blues to jazz to funk to rhythm and blues to R&B to Black people's part in the inception of rock and roll, for example. But in the UK just is not where it needs to be in terms of like respecting our contribution. It did mean a lot. It does mean a lot when artists kind of come together and say, hey, and I try to do that as well. Like if someone has inspired something or inspired a song, or inspired a beat, if I'm feeling brave, I might just kind of like just do a story on a song that they've done that I like, or I might reach out on IG. And I think we can't always expect mainstream media, because not everybody is as wise and intelligent as Earground and Plot.
Thank you so much. Thank
We
you.
kind of communicate the whole job, and I think it's really beautiful when musicians rep each other and like, tell each other. It's like if you find a girl pretty, you want to tell her she's a pretty girl. So if you're a musician and there's someone that's inspired you and you say that, I just think it's a beautiful thing.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
We're coming back right after this 10 seconds, and then we talk about No Fear, the production, and everything behind it. Stay tuned, Earground, your voice amplified. Welcome back to Earground, your voice amplified. My name is Plot Mark, and I'm speaking there to Shingai and Verseless. These two worked on a single and a video called No Fear, which is already out. It's available on all online music stores. It's super amazing, and I'm loving the video. And we're going to be talking a bit more about that production. How did you guys get to connect and know each other? What brought about the chemistry for No Fear happened?
You start, Rocco.
Okay, it's my story. So I made the beat. I don't even know what like maybe like a year ago or so. Like a rough beat of it, and because I was kind of experimenting with like Amapiano, and I was inspired by it, but I didn't want to copy Amapiano 100% because at the end of the day, it's South Africa's sound. So I wanted to break the rules a bit. So I was saying that I have a business partner of mine called Dean, and he was in Joburg, and I sent it to him, and I was like, this is the stuff that I'm working on right now. This is the one I'm planning, pushing. What you think, whatever. And Dean contacted Shingai's team with the beat, And lo and behold, I'm getting a green light from Shingai's team saying, "I love this beat." Okay, so and then to the point where like not long afterwards, Dean sends me a video of Shingai in a studio. I don't even know what country you're in. Was it Tanzania or
Grenada?
Kenya? There you go. Like randomly, like they've got a demo recorded, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Very different from what I thought the song was gonna be like, but I was like, okay, but you know what? I'm absorbing it, and I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So then the bass, that's how it started. You know, it was just like, you know, you could tell like we could understand each other. So you know, she was traveling down to Zim, and then when we met in Zim, she came to the studio, and we were just like, you know what, let's do this. Let's go all out. So that's kind of how the story unfolded in a short form. I'm sure Shingai can add a bit of salt and spice to that if she wants.
It's great. You know, I feel like it doesn't need any. The only thing that I would add is that, like, back to what I was saying before, like, it takes a lot of courage for people. Oh goodness, this is the bit where the doorbell rings. I'm like, who is it? 1 second, guys. I'm so sorry. 1 moment.
No, that's fine.
It's all good.
So yeah, we're gonna take a small break, and we're coming back right after this. Yes, you were telling us about the connection there, Shiga.
Sorry, what it is, it takes courage to, like, a lot of people I feel like have this sort of idea that like creators are like all sort of super confident. And actually that's one of the reasons why I wrote this song, because, well, I mean, I wanted to pair the lyrics that were going to be uplifting, because it takes a lot of confidence to kind of reach out to someone on IG, because, you know, there's a lot of rejection, you know, in this world, and people are busy, and sometimes you know why people are going, why people are back or whatever. So yeah, the only thing I would add is that, I think before Team Shingi actually got back to Dean, I saw like a DM, and then he was like showing me some of the stuff that you were doing, Philo. And I think I just replied in the DM going, oh yeah, I've listened to Philo's music and I loved it. So it actually went down in the DMs first of all with Dean and I loved what Philo had done. Like, as a producer, I started looking at the stuff that he's done with Miles as well. Oh my goodness. Oh my goddess. Like, I just love it. So yeah, I think sometimes it takes a few factors than you might expect to like make a collaboration happen. It's no small feat, you know. So yeah, Instagram.
Yeah.
Great. And you know, I think when I was looking at the video and I was trying to really decode the different meanings and the messages that were coming from the song, and also looking at the times that we are in, you know, I said to myself, I think there is so much more meaning behind this song, because every time I watch the video, I keep discovering something new, you know, even very small elements, small detail, you know, on that bass and everything. But what was the message? What was the meaning from you as a creator of the song?
I feel like, to be honest, Philo Soko had done a lot already with the beat, and there's sometimes this happens as well as a vocalist and a lyricist. Some songs, the beat has got such an identity of its own that speaks to you, that it almost tells you what kind of song it wants to be. Like, sometimes someone will send you a beat and you'll be like, and the song will be like, tell me how you feel, you know, is this a love song? Is this whatever? And I just knew that I think this song felt like it was asking to have something that was mantra-like about it. It was asking to have something that people could sing really easily. And that's one of the things actually I love about the more kind of Southern African electronic music that we're seeing. And, you know, because, you know, I think it's important to remember that, like, when you think of, like, I guess, you know, a lot of the a lot of these genres that are kind of, you know, popping, like the amapianos and everything from kwaito, all these things. A lot of them are made in communities that are very Bantu diverse, right? You know, and so yeah, you know, like there's an incredible song which I recommend everybody listen to. Those of you who haven't heard it, most of us probably have through our parents, but it's called Stimela by Hugh Masekela, and it talks about how, you know, like there's a southern African sound, and he's not so much saying this is South African music. He's saying these boot dances come from, you know, young men and the boys that were also to come and work from Malawi, you know, Lesotho, with Eswatini, you know, Mozambique. He talks about how, you know, a lot of the music that has always come about since, you know, South Africa became a nation, it's this beautiful amalgamation of different, you know, SADC countries. And like, I don't know, maybe there's 12 to 15 of us that create the sound. And what I love about Philo's vibe is that he can give you something that you may think is very specifically South African, but it has this kind of like Zim, it has these Zim touches, you know, like if any of you have heard like the, for example, like the remix of the Amapiano inspired remix of War Drums, you know, you're going to get influences of like Mbira and like lots of raw sounds contrasting with the electronic sounds that give it the piano thing. So with this song, I just felt like it just needed like some simple mantras, and every time I had been coming to Zimbabwe since Haifa 2013, which you spoke about, I've been trying to kind of just lay a few more foundations and listen more, see what's going on, see how I can be a part of it. And I'm not very aggressive in the way that I do it. I try to kind of listen and build things organically. And so I noticed what was missing, to be honest, was that you know, ever since like, you know, the Southern African sound, or if you want to call it the South African sound, became popular, I feel like a lot of like up and coming kind of Zim artists were again so much more like outward facing, and you know, like since kind of Zim dance, I guess not died down but opened into different things, I just felt like, you know, there wasn't the same level of confidence in being like Zim artist, like confidence in being a local artist, confidence in doing you, confidence in being you as a diasporan, even with your broken shona like me. You can, you know, because sometimes I don't really, on my lowest points, I sometimes I don't know how to belong. You know, I'm never going to be completely, and I never want to be kind of accepted as just purely kind of English or UK, because what is that anyway? It's a culture that is created because of other cultures. And sometimes, you know, when you go back to Zim, if your shona is poor and, you know, you don't, you know, you can feel like left out of certain things. So for me, when I heard that beat, it just said confidence. It doesn't matter where you were raised, where you were born, whether you're from Mageto, whether you're a Kumusha baby, whether you're, you know, a Borodale baby. This song, I just wanted it to be one of those things that all of us could sing and all of us could relate to. So confidence was something that I actually put in there because I was like, and I don't even think it was necessarily planned. I think it was actually one of the outtakes that confidence lyric came in. So once the song had been kind of, we are the ones they said wouldn't make it, I was like, we've had so much negative press and just like just this kind of this outside story of Zimbabwe that's just perpetrated by Western media that began to take its toll on our confidence as a people, and it began to affect us. And you know, sometimes it takes art and it takes creativity and it takes our own kind of popular culture that we want to create to get our confidence back. So that's one.
Wow, this is very interesting because you spoke there about the Bantu effect and the Bantu element when it comes to the influence, the musical influences that we have. And I was actually reading this book, which is called Beyond Memory, and it talks about the progression and development of music in South Africa, especially from the pre-independence era, the apartheid era, and the Chimurenga years, and it also takes mention of the Bantu component to say that there was a lot of movement within the region by people from different nationalities, and this is what created the different music genres that we have, from township jazz to marabi to kwaito to everything that we see today. So yeah, thanks a lot for bringing that up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly.
Great. And Philo,
I wanted to add on. Yeah, so I wanted to add on in terms of
okay,
that. Like, what's interesting about the song is that it can be looked at in two ways. It can be looked at from a micro scale or a macro scale. In the macro scale, it's it's more the narrative that Shingai is talking about, and it's about like us really accepting ourselves and as a community, and leveling up ourselves, and actually saying, what, I'm going to do what's necessary. I'm not going to have any fear. We're going to build, ourselves, and that's in that sort of sense. But then in the micro sense, like for me personally, like it's one of those things where only after the lyrics was like I was really listening to the lyrics, it made me realize it's actually talking to my life as well, and kind of like how I've kind of gone through certain things. Where I have, as you said, like I've always been incognito. I've always been low key. I'm not really the kind of person who likes to, say I did this, whatever. I've always kind of been like chilled about things. I'm not loud. So because of that, like I kind of realized that I think some of it stems from just not having that sort of, self-assurance. Like, like I know this is what I'm about. I'm good at what I do, and so on and so forth. And obviously, life throws you all sorts of challenges, and you get broken down. People tell you you're not good enough, and whatever. And some of these things were like, unfortunately, sticking. You know what I mean? They actually affected me in the way I thought and the way I did things. So in a sense, this song also talks to it in a micro scale for some people, where it's like, it's not just about a community-based thing. It's about you as well. Like you need to find your source, your foundation, and and move forward, because at the end of the day, you're the only one who can make yourself move forward. No one's going to do it for you. You know what I mean? Like that's something that, I think it's important as well to highlight in the song. And that's kind of the idea of it, because even when it came to the video and starting the video and the concept of the video and everything, I was just thinking, this is a lot. But you know what? As I said, you had to put doubts aside and just say, let's go. So that's basically a growing point for me as well, personally, in terms of the song and what it means to me. This is why, like, I've been kind of saying, like, I'm gonna change from this song onwards in terms of how I present myself as a brand, as Verseless, as the artist. I want people to know that I'm dope, simply.
Great.
What a testimony! Can we just give it up for that testimony? Dude,
calm.
It means a lot. And we pulled it off, as my auntie would say. We pulled it off.
You did. I was talking to Philo last week, and we're discussing, and I was asking a few things, and I still want to ask you guys. This whole initiative looked very well thought, and well invested. From the list of the people that are there in terms of the production, I see John Jagu there, I see Nakai Matema there, and a whole lot of people that were involved in the production. And also the, painting a whole bus for a music video, not just painting, but all those fine details that are there. And having a video shot in 2 locations, mainly 2 cities, Harare and Bulawayo. I saw some scenes in Matobos, I saw some scenes in Harare there. What was the goal behind? What was the intention?
I think you should go first again, Philo, because I'm like.
Okay, all right. So I'll say this: it was one of those go hard or go home moments. I think like this, just go hard or go home. Like we, simply like it's like I always have a statement: attack formation. You just have to attack. So I think it's one of those things where, like, I think the main thing was we wanted to kind of prove people wrong. Like, Zimbabwe can do dope stuff if you just put your mind to it. You know what I mean? Because there's obviously this unfortunate notion that some things are subpar because they come from Zimbabwe or they come from this place or whatever. You know what I mean? There's that bias, and that bias, unfortunately, we need to kind of change that, because over time, people don't realize how negative that bias can affect us. We criticize local content more than we criticize international content, if you think about it. You know what I mean? And all these things, and you just kind of realize, you know what, guys, like it's not that we can't do it. It's just, you know, we can do it. You just need to show them that you can do it. And I think that's what the video is meant to highlight. I think that's the main important thing. You know what I mean? Like, just prove people wrong, because that's the thing. Like, to be honest, like, I've seen many people on, like, you know, you look at social media and as a person releases a song, you just see comments after comments, everyone just going like, oh, no, the song is alright or whatever, you know. And it's like as if they're like music experts and everything, or they understand the industry, and like it's a weird country in terms of that. So I kind of just said, look, just give them something that they can't criticize.
I mean, it's the thing is, I think that's one of the results of, like, when your confidence is worn down as a people, it starts to wear down the local communities and you as an individual, and then it's too easy for you to pull each other down. And I feel like art has this potential to kind of lift each other up, but Lilo says you have to take that risk, man. You have to show that, you know what, we're gonna do better. And actually, a lot of people told us, why are you shooting the video in Zim? You should shoot it in South Africa. You know? And, like, you know, does South Africa have a lot of the icons that are in this video, you know, like my chicken buses? You know, it's like Africa is not like a monolith. We have so many beautiful nuances. And I just felt like what Philo said the other day, sorry, not the other day, like a minute ago, about how this video in the microcosm, it kind of represents, and this song represents a chance to kind of reposition his own confidence. I felt like there's a similar moment for me. And so the video, I guess, had to contain certain metaphors. And one of the biggest metaphors was the fact that, like, this Zimbabwean rusty icon, what was once a rusty icon that got turned into, by, you know, young Zimbabwean artists, got turned into a moving, unstoppable piece of art. That shows you what Zimbabwe can mean. So for me, it was a bit like the bus was a metaphor. And I think once we decided that the bus was going to be like the key icon, we were not going to back down. People were like, you could just use, you know, one of those, you know, Chinese new buses. No, it had to be made in Zim, by Zim, for Zim. And we want to be part of this kind of like restoration of celebrating things in Zim that Zimbabweans, we have sometimes forgotten how to see beauty in. The thing is, if you let something rust, then obviously it becomes rusty. Whereas if you look after something, if you nurture something, and it's time that we looked after some of these things that are actually really cool Zimbabwean icons. You know, I was actually saying the other day in an interview that, like, as a diasporan, there's certain things that I might see in Zim that Zimbas are like, that's so cheesy. How do you find that beautiful? And then there are certain things that Zimbabweans might see that I've made and gone, hey, that's really good. And I'm like, oh, really? I didn't notice it. So I just feel like that bus is kind of symbolic of, like, us growing together, going into like a new era of, like, Zim creativity. Because as I said earlier on in our chat, I think we lost something like, my mum reckons that we lost something like maybe 70 to 80% of some of our greatest first generation post-independence musicians due to so many factors, you know, due to factors outside of our control, you know, like the HIV/AIDS pandemic, epidemic took away so many of those musicians, so many of our, you know, beloved family members across the Bantu Sadak cultures, you know, and poverty and, you know, engineered post-colonial independence poverty took away a lot of that generation of musicians. So I think we've got the chance to kind of like celebrate what we can achieve as like a new kind of alliance with the diaspora now, who's been outside for a generation. or perhaps two. Second generation is coming up now. So I think for me, like, the bus had to be in there, because the bus is a symbol of what it takes when you just give something a bit of TLC, a bit of liquor paint, a bit of vibrancy, a bit of colors. And what Calligraph did with the bus was they took into consideration all of the Zimbabwean motifs from different tribes, like different clans, different families. We were repping Venda, we were repping Tonga, we were repping Mashona, we were repping,
everyone. Manyika, it's everyone's there. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of little small things on the bus. Yeah, there's a lot of small things on the bus. Like there's actually a skyline you can see, like monuments on the bus. Yeah. If you look carefully, there's actually, like, you can see, there's like the bridge, the Caribbean, the Vic Falls Bridge, and then here there's that. Yeah, so made sure. Yeah.
I also think that for me, like, I mean, the dancers, the extras, everyone involved did incredible, superb performances, which made it really difficult, I think, for the team as final, probably so difficult for them to choose and to pick everybody. But for me, the real star of the bus is, I have to give it up to to Duncan and the crew who let us over that bus. But for me, the star of the video is the bus, and it's also the journey going from Harare to Matopos represents us, kind of like not shining all the spotlight on one part of the country and not the other. Like, separation from Bulawayo quiz as well. And so for me, the star is the bus, because we went to about, the team went to about, I think it was 7 or 8 bus companies, just didn't see the vision. Like, why do you want to paint that? Again, there was a lot of like, you can't do it, we don't do that. And now a lot of people are like, it's nice. Maybe I want one. I think I'm going to do that. And so, once you just like harness creativity, I think creativity can resurrect a lot of things, it can resurrect a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting, because you're talking about resurrection there, and I see a lot of possibilities around collaborations between Zimbabwean artists in Zimbabwe and those in the diaspora. For you, what would you say those goals or deliverables that we can actually get from this cross, Zimbabwe diaspora sort of collaboration?
You can go literally hardly, and I mean, but then there's the post-production. Post-production takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of understanding and remembering the bigger picture of what the whole team. So I feel like, it's not that collaborating internationally with each other is difficult. I think it's the consistency of the other bit as well. Like, even knowing that we're all human and we're all going through ups and downs, being more patient, being more forgiving with each other, and like, as a diasporan, understanding the challenges that they're facing in Zim. Like, for example, when we're doing a lot of this press, or when we're doing a lot of the post-production and the editing, sometimes you have to get on like 1 hour or half an hour like Zoom calls with like 10 of you, and then you have to understand that there might be powers that might be gone. So as a diasporan, you need to be just super understanding of what the challenges your brothers or sisters that you're something with at home have. And then obviously, I think there's also a vice versa thing where, someone who's maybe don't always expect that people in the West have it and everything is gravy, because a lot of us, might look good behind the Zoom, and but there's a lot of challenges here that there's a lot of challenges here that creatives of not only creatives of color but like creatives are facing as well, because we have to proudly rep a culture which is just seems to be continually under threat by like negative discourse by the media. So we have to stand firm and say, look, we're proud, and look, we're going to go to maybe 60% of the radio stations that we wanted to, because we want them to play the music that's authentic to us. Or for example, it's not every radio station in England or in America that's going to get No Fear. So it takes a lot longer to make these collaborations pop. You have to be a lot more creative. You have to, you have to explore the different media. You have to go back to, as I say, it's like being on the ground again. So I think both parties need to manage the expectations of what's possible with these diaspora and collaborations. But like, if you look at like in terms of like, if you look at the way that like Afro beats and stuff was able to rise, we can't compare, because the quality of music in most of Africa is incredible, but the thing is, they put a lot more financial investment as a diasporan into at home. Like a lot of Nigerians heavily invest, in their artists. You don't get your Wizkids and your Davidos from talent alone, with all due respect. They had to be talented in a lot of other ways, marketing, lots of other things. And they really, really invested. And this is something that, a lot of Zimbabweans internationally are still not there yet, with realizing how much creativity can boost the economy. It's not just about boosting confidence, it's about creating, a creative economy where people can go, oh wow, like that's Zim, or that's whatever. So there's a lot of expectations that need to be managed, but I would highly recommend it. I just feel like these collabs are the key to us understanding, and like people like you and Philo and everyone on this group, you're making it, you're giving me like, you're strengthening the bridge so that I have a creative home to go back to, so that when I'm next at home, I can go to the studio, with Versus. I can go and put down a track with some of my other favorite, local artists, up and coming or established. We've got a lot of work to do, but hopefully, No Fear is definitely gonna send the message out that like, look, a lot of us are ready. So what is everybody else waiting for?
That's true.
Wow, great. Wow, awesome. In 1 minute, Philo and Shingai, where do you see the Zimbabwean music going right now? If you to give it like 5 years, where are we headed?
Okay, it's growing. So it is growing. And the nice thing is that in the sense of it's growing, I think eventually it'll reach a stage where it will pretty much do what Nigeria did, where the musicians will start saying, let's establish certain systems that will benefit us and benefit the industry in the long term, not just short term. So I think that's the important part is, as more money starts coming into it and more people start realizing the value of it, through these collaborations, from the diaspora and such, and even just straight local, it'll become bigger and people will take it more seriously. So it's not just like Jema Guitare, it's actually like, it's actually a real career, and you can actually be something within the career. You don't have to be the artist, you can be a manager, you can be a PA, you can be this, you can be that, and there's so many angles and so many jobs that can come out of it. But I think for now it's still in its infant stage, because there's a lot of infrastructure that still needs to be built. But it's definitely improved a lot. There's now at least a narrative where people actually want to listen to Zimbabwean music rather than constantly listening to outside music. Because I remember back in the 90s, for example, when I was growing up, I would rarely hear any Zimbabwean music on the radio. But now it's like almost the complete opposite. So that's what's quite interesting. Yeah,
I agree, 100%. Oh, what, same question?
Yes.
Honestly, I would definitely just echo and amplify and cheerlead everything that Philo said. I feel like I think I kind of touched on it like 5 minutes ago when I was just saying it's going to take both of us like to get to a stage where you don't get like this international kind of inspired creative culture, and as Philo said, an actual industry that supports it without without the diaspora. And I think it's this kind of like echoes. It's almost kind of beyond music. Like if we want Zimbabwe to grow, I feel like the diaspora need to make sure that with whatever success that we're having, we mustn't forget that a lot of our success comes from the blessing of, you know, what is in DNA, which is being Zimbabwean, which is being very resilient, which is being very loving, very passionate, very hardworking, very dynamic, vibrant people who have clearly been through a lot, but we still have a lot of warrior energy in us that is worth, you know, kind of utilizing to build upon whatever success we have outside. I just feel like I'm just loyal. Like there's no way I could be successful outside Zim and not want to channel those achievements back home in a way that drives prosperity back home. Like I'm all about supporting Zim brands. Like I'm all about supporting brands in the diaspora of people who are proud to rep their Zimbabwean heritage. And I know it's not just about national, but I think that's actually what will make Africa the giant that it deserves to be, and we almost are once again, you know? Like I think, and you know, and so yeah, I just feel like it's now just about investing in the industry that can support that the need to be at a point now where we are still copying others. We have quite strong identities within different Zim vibes now, different rhythms. We've got everything from, you know, we can do so much types of music, and in, you know, whether it's like the kind of pop stuff or the more kind of raw stuff, we have so much talent. We just need to utilize the diaspora, you know, let us feel welcome, and the diaspora need to, I feel like, channel their wins into wins that will positively affect, you know, everyone at home. Wow. Yeah, we need it Ubuntu, innit? We need each other.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Great words from the two of you there, and I really enjoyed it. I wanted to ask more questions to continue this conversation, but definitely we have another day where we talk about more projects, more stuff that you guys are working on. Thank you so much, Shingai. Thank you so much, Philo, for this opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And thanks a lot to Chad. Thanks a lot to Samantha and the whole team that made this interview possible. For those that are watching, it's never possible alone. I mean, there's always structure, there's always a team that makes these things possible, and I'm actually happy to be in touch with that team. Until next time, thank you so much to everybody who's been watching Earground. That's the platform. Stay tuned and keep it locked. And remember, No Fear is out on all online stores. You find the video is there on YouTube. Beautiful video. Go and watch it. Until next time, I'm out. Thank you so much. You're most welcome. Philo. Peace.
Peace
Stay
out.
safe.
Peace out. Peace out.
Great.